Hi, friends. Today's episode is all about maximizing resident events. And last episode, we talked a lot about batching. And so you might see a theme here. I'm trying to give you the best tips to make the most out of your time and out of your energy. But before we dive into that, I kind of want to talk about something that relates. And that's that property management can be so tough. And let's face it, this year has been really tough for some. I'm on calls with property managers all the time, and it shocks me the amount of things that they're juggling. So, I was talking to a manager that was recently promoted. She is on a lease up. It's a smaller lease up, 80 units, but she's completely by herself. She doesn't have a ton of experience in marketing, and she's kind of been left to lease this place up. And it's overwhelming. And I talked to another person who's transitioning into a marketing role and is responsible for the marketing of many communities, not five, not 10, not 25, but numbers upwards of 50 communities. One person responsible for creating those assets. Every day can be just overwhelming and can feel like you're just not making headway. So before we dig into anything, I just want to say that you are making a difference and that the work that you do matters. And if nobody else is telling you that, I hope that you can hear it from me. As a former property manager, there is nothing about your job that seems easy to me. You know, you show up and you're juggling your residents. Think about what goes on in one family, right? One family dynamic. And you're dealing with hundreds of families within one community where you are kind of like the mom or the dad in a way. And while you don't know all the intricacies, you're still affected by those things. And it's up to you to lead the charge. And then you have your team, and it's up to you to keep up that momentum. And if you're on the team, let's say that you're not the property manager listening, you no doubt carry a heavy role too, especially if you're trying to make a career in multifamily housing. So I see you out there. I see you trying to make a difference and actually caring about your career and caring about the people you work with and the people that live in your communities. And then I think about the fact that you not only answer to probably a regional, but a VP. You have ownership meetings, you have so many things. You might be dealing with inspections, you might be in the middle of a construction or rehab. That's a lot. And so, as we're getting close to ending the year, I'm not encouraging you in any way to take your foot off the gas, but I am saying to take a pause to just acknowledge all the hard work that you put into this year. And that if nobody else is appreciating your efforts, it's important for you to stop and to really appreciate the magnitude of what you're going through. And I say that because so many of you are not only dealing with your work, but life. You have children at home, you have aging parents, you have spouses. Maybe you're going through a divorce or a separation, or you just have circumstances that nobody else knows about. Maybe you're having a difficult time making ends meet, or your life choices are catching up with you. And even though you're trying to make really positive changes, every day is a struggle. And I know for myself, I've recently been through my own life change. I've moved cities. My family situation is a little bit different. I'm separated. And I haven't shared that, but it's something that weighs on our heart. And I know so many of you are going through those things. So when you show up every day at your communities and you smile and you're kind, even when people are not always kind to you, it really makes a big difference and it matters. And even if nobody else sees it, man, what a quality caliber of a person that you are. So before we get into that, resident events, just really on my heart to say that to y'all tonight. You can tell it's dark outside. I'm in my home office, but I was just thinking of you and I wanted you to hear that message. So I'm sending lots of love. And yeah, just take that pause, even if it's just after this segment. Hit pause and just think about what this year has handed you and how you've dealt with it and how you're doing a really amazing job with the circumstances that you have. All right, friends. Now let's dig into how to maximize those resident events. A lot of us are getting into resident event season, November, December, typically even communities that don't host events are hosting bigger events or hosting maybe more often. So let's talk about how to not just let it be something that passes in this month, but that gives you a real bang for your buck. All right, let's do it. So I've shared this analogy before. Now, this blouse may not work, but let's pretend that you run across this beautiful sweater. We're getting into sweater weather. And let's say that you find this beautiful sweater. Maybe it's a cashmere sweater, or it's just something that you fall in love with, but the price tag is kind of hefty. It's an investment. So you sit back and you start to think to yourself, okay, this sweater is gorgeous. It's light enough that I can wear it in the spring or the fall, or in the winter, I can layer it. And so it's going to get a lot of wear, all the seasons, maybe minus summer. I also love this sweater because it'll look great with slacks for work, maybe even trousers, but it'll also look good with jeans. It's enough that it's versatile that I can dress it up or down. I love this sweater because it could go with a skirt, all kinds of different skirts, and it could even go underneath a blazer. So when you start thinking about all the uses that you have for this sweater, all of a sudden that price tag and the fact that you can wear it 3 out of 4 seasons makes you feel like it might be worth the investment. Well, when you think about resident events, they're expensive. They're an investment, not just in money, but also in time and in energy. Now, as we're going into this season where maybe we're doing bigger events, maybe some resident appreciation, some end of year things, I want you to kind of put on your hat that says, how can I think of my resident events as a sweater that I'm trying to get the most use of? Meaning the event might literally last a couple of hours, but I want the effects of the event to last me for multiple seasons, maybe many weeks, many months, even the whole year. Is it possible? It is, friends. And I'm going to just share a few strategies that going into this event, when you're pre-planning, when you're, deciding what person is going to be responsible for what on your team, having these ideas in mind ahead of time is going to make sure that you maximize this event. So let's get started. The first one is for marketing purposes. Now, in an event, people are usually super happy. So this is a great time to get testimonials. And it can be super casual or it can be a little more formal. You could have a photo booth set up where one of the team members has a great backdrop and it's a resident spotlight. And when residents come up, there's a little recording that's almost like a testimonial booth where they share one thing that they're thankful for or that they love about living at their community. Now, you don't have to put the feature like just on the community, like, what do you love about living here? But one thing that you can ask is a question that you can kind of prompt them. You can say, in your daily routine, what is one of your favorite rituals that happens inside of your home? And somebody might say, oh, I love curling up on my couch. It's so cozy. I have the best view of the sunrise. Do you see how your community plays in? Or you can be more direct and you can say, how long have you lived here and what's your favorite memory? So it's super simple, but ahead of time, you're planning on getting those testimonials. Second idea that kind of goes right off of that is asking residents in advance if you can do a quick interview for a future newsletter. So it's really nice when residents receive their newsletter and they get to know their neighbor. And it can be just a simple story like what they do for work or where they're from or a fun fact about them. Now, not every resident is going to be up for this, but some will love the spotlight. So think ahead of time, or you can even just ask them at the event and then schedule a time to record this later. At our website, we're always looking for new photos, updated lifestyle pictures, and just showing the vibrancy of our community. So make sure that a third aspect of this is that you're getting great photography and be thinking about different angles. Now, some people will not want their face shown. And in fact, I think it's kind of great if you can get angles where it just shows a crowd of people, but nobody's super distinguishable. Or you show people getting things like from whatever the station is, whether it's a taco bar or resident appreciation potluck. You show people gathered, you show a fun atmosphere, but maybe you don't zoom in on anybody's face particularly. This is a great way to add great stock photos. And now you're going to want to put the person that's the best photographer on your team for this job. This is also a great opportunity to showcase your team. So get pictures of your team interacting with residents in real life. The videos are great for this, where you don't necessarily have to have the audio on, but you can show the expressions, maybe a lively conversation. These are great for TikTok, B-roll, Instagram. They make great videos that you can later overlay like a little tagline or a little text or a did you know about a team member. Again, people want to know what the community is really like, and that means they want to know the people that are helping run the community, right? That's the staff. And so instead of just telling people that your team is awesome, show them in action. Gather who attended your event. Now, this is another idea. A lot of times we just have people come in, but consider having a sign up or something that they can enter, like a prize. And that way, afterwards, you can send a very special thank you for attending. One of the biggest things I hear is that we don't have enough attendance at our resident events. It's so discouraging, right? You put all this effort in, and then a handful of people show up. But if you thank and reward the ones that are coming, and you make it personal if you can, or if you can't, just a generalized one that feels warm and fuzzy from the team, then it's going to start to build that momentum. And so, thinking about that ahead of time, even having a picture where your team is all waving together, or a montage of different headshots of your team, maybe being silly or fun, you're thinking ahead of time of the type of graphics you're going to need to make that email feel really personalized, even if it's going out to many different people. Now, if you have a resident that is always super helpful at events, I always had a couple that showed up early or stayed late to help. Spotlight them. Spotlight them on your social media. Give them a round of applause at the event. You're creating these little micro moments that are going to be super memorable. You can even shout them out in a newsletter. So, again, you're looking for those one on one interactions that can scale and that you can showcase that value add of community, which is something that people are lacking so much in their life right now. So, again, by thinking ahead, you can really shine that spotlight on those residents that go the extra mile to be a part of the community. That's something that not every resident does. So, make sure to really thank those that are doing that. After your event is over, go back and look through your videos and your camera and ask all of your team members to make sure that they're sharing their photos, maybe in a shared Google Drive, and look for some of the best moments. Like, have a quick meeting after with your team and just recap, like, what were some of the best moments? Oh, remember when Mrs. So and so did this, or there was a group that was laughing about this, or whatever it is. You can even make this a reel of a recap of the best moments of the event. Now, people, after they attend an event, they love to go back on social media and see if they can spot themselves. So, adding to that, you could even add in the reel or in the carousel of photos, you could say, tag yourself if you find yourself. What was, like, caption this, what was happening. If you get some still shots of maybe some very like interactive action shots of your residents talking or engaging, you can be like, let us in on the secret. What was the tea? What was going on in that conversation? Let us know in the comments, or tag your community bestie in the comments. Any way to get engagement. You don't even have to do that the very next day. You can do it a couple of days later, the next week, whatever it is. And then what's so great about content like that is when you have pictures or videos of residents having fun, you can repurpose that. So say 3, 6 months later, you hear a trending audio. Wow, that's what you get when you record at home, guys. My washer just went a little crazy. So if that happens, not the washer, but if you get some great moments, you can always repurpose it later, overlay a great resident testimonial, and share it on your website or share it in a follow-up email. So try that next time at your event. Make sure to capture those laughing, happy moments. Have a way to gather feedback. This is so big, right? You don't always get the opportunity to talk to that many of your residents at once. So you can either all be assigned to listen for feedback, or you can have one employee that is maybe doing a station where they're gathering feedback, or they're doing, maybe they're the ones that are kind of polling residents on different things. Ask them, hey, is this the type of event that you'd like us to do again? What other events do you have ideas for? And be gathering those things. The thing is, you always think you're going to remember those comments, but make sure to have a way to capture them in the moment. So when you get back together as a team to discuss what kind of things that you guys should do in the next upcoming year, like 2025, you got real resident feedback that can dictate and help you plan an awesome year. Something super fun that you can do is create a community memory wall. So if you host events regularly, so let's say November, December, you're planning to do 2, 3, get as many photos as you can and actually post a memory wall that people can come in and see. So this is great in the leasing office. I think in a common area would be fun. Residents can come in and, look at the pictures of themselves and relive those memories. But it's a great marketing tool as well. When a prospect comes in and they see real photos on a wall, tangible, of people having fun, it sells the community in a way that you can never, like, you don't even need to do it with words. Like, you can just say, here are a few pictures from our latest resident events. We've done these 3 things in the last couple of months, and you can kind of see the happy faces. We have a lot of fun. You're going to want to be at the next one. Something super simple like that. It's a great selling tool. But again, you're going to capture those moments, print out those pictures and do a great memory wall to make sure that they're seeing it. Or an alternative is like a memory book that like chapbooks. You can print out these great books and have them as coffee table displays. So that's another easy idea if you want to make it a little more luxe. So another idea for social is doing a throwback Thursday. So some people may not like this idea, but I think it's kind of fun. If you have a theme every Thursday where it's like you're throwing back to some of your favorite events, this could be a really fun way to take that one event and literally showcase the pictures from it for a couple of months and say, we're counting down the days for our next resident potluck. Here's one of our favorite moments. And again, it's what kind of food should we do this year? What theme should we do? Should we do more of these every year? Make it an opportunity to get feedback, but it also gives you one social media post every single week with content that you're grabbing at that one event. So talk about maximizing your efforts with one event with multiple posts. And as you're sharing these photos, make sure to save them on a highlight little bubble on Instagram or in a Facebook album. And that way, when people are looking at your community and they want to binge your content to see if they want to live at your community, they're able to look back at many different events. So they see a variety, they see a ton of people having fun. This can really impact how people view your community. Again, one event showcasing the lifestyle, the behind the scenes, which is what people want to see. Okay, friends, those are just a few ways that you can really maximize one event. So we've got the rest of November, December, and even January. We're probably hosting a lot of events. Before you go into this busy season, make sure you have a team meeting so everyone knows what the goal of the event is, what the role is that they play in gathering that. And then make sure that you have a post-event meeting to capture all the content, discuss how you're going to repurpose it. Really think through the feedback and how is that going to impact what 2025 looks like. You all have so much on your plate. So let's make this the year where whatever we're doing, we're making sure it's like that beautiful, gorgeous, expensive sweater that if it's going to be worth doing, we're going to make sure that we can repurpose it in a multitude of ways. So whether it's for your marketing, it's for your future retention to make residents remember the good times, or it's just to be relatable and have great actual photos that showcase real people at your community, make sure that you're just taking that pause to plan all those little details ahead of time. And that way, even if only a handful of people show up, you know that that event was worth it. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next week where we're going to be talking about the resident events that are not as traditional for December. So make sure that you tune in. See you then. Bye. All right, guys, that's a wrap on today's multifamily mix. Keep shaking things up at your community, your career, and most importantly, your life. Until we mix and mingle again, see you next week, friend.